As I have promised long ago, I have continued with the Dresden Files, and I have to say, I think I definitely have more positive feelings on it, and I just might be continuing on with the series. Grave Peril by Jim Butcher. Again, you guys made me read this as a DNFs you want me to continue, or my previous DNFs. I had DNF this series after Full Moon. I reviewed that a while ago, and I did not like Full Moon. I still stand by that wasn't a really good book, but I think this was a massive improvement. This definitely was not a 5-star book. Not enough happened for me in this book to make it a perfect book, but it was very solid, and I have come to look on Dresden with a different viewpoint now. Now, the viewpoint I'm talking about is basically that Dresden is now not just like this crazy series that I need to finish because it's such a big series, and this is more of a palate cleanser for me. This is more of a have fun with these mystery adventures, which are always very interesting. Not always, because again, not Full Moon. I didn't really like Full Moon, but I really think that this is a great book. I loved how they just threw in a new thing of vampires, which was still an old thing that comes back from previous books, but they throw in new twists on it. They throw in some new mystery, which you had to figure out what was going on, and I need some of that in my life. I don't not read a lot of mystery, but this is one of the most action-packed mysteries, while throwing in a blend of all the classic fantasies, because I don't get much of the fairy, and there's like fairies in this book, and there's a new spin on fairies. I didn't really know. This review will be spoiler-free, because again, this is just me telling you about Dresden Files, but Summer Night announcement, that's when my spoiler reviews will start. So next month when I read Summer Night, you guys can look in for a spoiler review, but right now I'm just going to be talking about this Dresden Files book, spoiler free, to give you guys a warning, and I'm telling you guys, next month is a spoiler review. So I loved this book a lot. Again, it wasn't a 5-star, I gave it a 4-star, but I think Jim Butcher did a really good job of making it interesting, throwing in characters I really love. There were some characters that better than others. I personally didn't like the character of Susan. A little too cliche for me, and yeah, some of the choices she made was an eye roller, and that's just to say the least. I do like the character of Murphy. She was not as big as an appearance here in this book, but one of the characters I do really love is Michael. I love just his values are just so honest, and they really just reflects him as a person, and his some of his weapons. And now we're solving this mystery, and then it comes less of a solving a mystery, but more of really finding out what happens. I feel like the stakes were much bigger. The first one, they were like, oh, what's going on here? And the second one was kind of the same thing, but cornier and a cheap knockoff version of that. This one feels like they're being attacked. They need to find out what happens. It does feel new, fresh tone of view, way to look at this. I really enjoyed it a lot more. It was a lot better, in my opinion, than Full Moon, and I can't wait for Summer Night. Honestly, this book looks very interesting, and I can't wait to see what happens in it, because the Dresden Files isn't like your normal fantasy series. If you hear that it is going to be over 20 books, that's kind of scary, and that's why I kind of stopped at the start, because I was I don't really know if I have time for this. I don't know if I want to invest this much time in a book series that's just this up and down. But now I realize it's less of a trudge to get through and more of an enjoyable book. It was not too much to memorize. Definitely, there was great characters like Bob and stuff like that. There was a lot of great mythology, but it was very simple mythology, sticking to stuff like vampires, werewolves, angels, and ghosts. That's basically the extent of the world building here, and I kind of like it. It's a very urban setting, and it is a very good book. I think it did a lot of excellent jobs on what it tried to achieve. Again, didn't really like the character of Susan. She kind of made some stupid decisions. I really wasn't crazy invested. I wasn't I really wasn't invested, but I enjoyed it, if you understand what I'm saying. This is I did enjoy what was happening, but again, it wasn't a page turner for me, even though it was a mystery. It didn't have me like, I was like, oh, what's happening? It didn't have me off my seat. That's just kind of what holds it back a little for me. But I know a lot of them get a lot better. And I know with this many books, we're going to get to know Harry Dresden a lot. This is a first person thing. Also, not a bad example of first person. I do think it would be cool to be second person, or like, I think it would be cool to be third person. But this is like, I think it's like the old detective stories. It's like an old detective thrown in with a wizard, and it's a very nice blend of stuff. So Grave Peril, it gets a thumbs up for me. I would give it a 4 stars. Not the best book of all time, but I do thank you guys for voting for Dresden. I got an overwhelming amount of Dresden File votes, so I was like, I can't not do it. So I did it, and I think I'm going to be continuing. Who knows that for how long that will go. I'm definitely going to go into summer night, and hopefully I just like keep making it through, and we'll see where I'm at by the end of the year. I'm not making any commitments, but I'm going to try to get it once a month. With the time I had commitments, I had to do once a month because I just the schedule I made. But this time it's just going to be fun, and we'll see where we're at. Grave Peril, very good. Tell me how you liked it in the comments below. And if you have not read Dresden, I recommend. I don't know if like a fully recommend, but so far so good is what I'm telling you. So I can't wait for the sequels because I hear they get better, you know, because every time I'm following people who are reviewing it, and they keep saying it gets better, and hopefully there'll be page turners. I can tell like something big will happen, you know, like there's something like there's going to be more conflict, and their peace talks and battlegrounds just came out last year, and apparently those were really good, and those look higher stakes. Just one thing about this book, the cover is absolutely awful. Like, all of the older covers are very awful. They're just very grainy, and they're not that, like, just, like, they're not that creative. It's very dark and stuff like that. But that was my little review for Dresden Files number 3, Grave Peril by Jim Butcher. I thought it was a decent pickup from Full Moon, and I can't wait to read more. So see you guys in the next video, and peace out.